What is going on, guys? In this video, I will be guiding you through how we can use these pretty amazing tools now for generating AI art. And specifically, we'll be looking at MidJourney, which in my opinion is sort of the go-to right now when it comes to sort of the trade-off between pricing and how well it performs. Obviously there are others like Dolly and Stable Diffusion, and I'll make another video in the future on the comparison of the pros and cons of the different models that are available. But what we'll be learning in this video will sort of extend to all of the models, really, because we'll be learning about how we can I'll assume you're a beginner, so we'll go through like the basics of how it works for this. But what I really want to focus on is how we can phrase our input, how the keywords that we use and so on, that will guide the output. So prompt engineering is becoming more and more of a key skill when it comes to actually getting good art, So that is what I want to focus on, and the way I want to do that is by illustration, because I think seeing an example of the mindset that we should have when using these models or using these tools, and sort of how we experiment and so on to get good output. And I also want to share some resources that I think are really useful for this. And all right, so with that said, if we look at MidJourney specifically, there are a free trial that you can use. You get like 20 images or something. Then the basic membership will be 200 images a month for $10, and the standard will be $30, and then it's unlimited personal use. So, I mean, comparison to Dolly and so on, that's actually pretty cheap. So that's why I think MidJourney is really good in this regard. But let's look at some examples. What can it do? So these are some examples in the community feed, and I don't know if you've seen these before, but if this is the first time, I was really blown away seeing this, because looking at just the advancement, the last couple of years, starting from, I guess, just like AI art in general, if you look like Deep Dream, Neural Style Transfer, and so on, and then what we can do to this and how we can really direct the output, looks pretty freaking incredible. So let's just take one. I don't know, like all of them look pretty cool, to be honest, but maybe we can take this one looks cool. All right, so this is the prompt that generated this image. So the input was lightning, baby dragon, lightning sparks, intricate details, Unreal Engine, photorealism. So we can use this prompt, and we can see if we can get something similar. So what you do is that you download Discord and you join the server, and then you set up a subscription, or if you just use the free trial. I won't guide you through that. I think you can do that on your own, so we can focus on the important stuff, which is prompt engineering. So when you access the Discord server, you'll join one of these like general image generation threads, and as you can see, it's public. So there are a bunch of people now, using it, and we can see even the input that they use here. So in this guy wrote, inside of a barn with hay, photorealistic, ultra-realistic, 4K, HDR, extreme detail. And then you get a 2x2 grid of like alternatives, basically like different initializations. And then when you get this, you can do some future or some further steps on it. So you can do like let's say out of these four you liked, I don't know, the top left one. You could upscale that one by pressing this upscale 1 or U1, or maybe you like that one more than the others, so you want 4 more, like a new 2x2 only on variants from the top left one. Then you press the V1. So what you do is this is good for inspiration and so on, But what you do is that you basically just do /imagine, and then you'll get a prompt, and then in this you'll write what you want. So now I just copy pasted the lightning baby dragon one, and if we press enter, it's gonna start generating it, and it takes like a minute or 45 seconds or so. All right, so what is there to be said more? So like that's the basics of how it works. And as you can imagine, the difficulty here is, well, how do you choose the words? And before we actually get into that though, I just want to, most of you who watch my channel are pretty into machine learning already, but maybe some of you are not, and just want to learn how to use MidJourney. What you're doing here is not telling, like for example, when you're telling it 4K, it's not that the image output will be 4K. You're sort of prompting the model to sort of remember the data that it was trained on. So when you input 4K, you can imagine that when the model was trained and the image had 4K in its description, then it's probably of a high quality photo. So when people write these details like 4K, what they really want is that they want to prompt the model so that it remembers the high quality data, right? There's probably a bunch of different data that it was trained on that's not as high quality. So by writing 4K or even 8K and so on, you're wanting or remembering maybe that sub data. So this is the example we got. Not as cool maybe as the one that we saw, but that's one thing too, is like you can regenerate, and then you'll get to that, or you'll do variants and so on. So what is the mindset we should have when using these models? I think the best to have is basically starting with an explorative idea. So you have like a general sense of what you want, but you don't know exactly how it should look like. It's kind of difficult to get it exactly as you want. In some cases it might be possible, but in general I would say that it's pretty difficult. So what you want is to have a general sense and like a direction that you want it to go, and then you experiment and sort of prompt the model in various ways and see which ones you like and which ones you don't like, and go further on the ones you like and move away from the ones you don't. So how you want to use these models is that you want to experiment with it. And I'll show you an illustration. We'll go through an example of how we can do it. But before we do that, I want to show you some useful resources, and I'll link these and you can take a look at them. They're really useful for inspiration and so on. So the first one is a GitHub page where we basically have like like styles of how we can modify the output, right? So let's there are lots of different things we can do here, like too much to even memorize, which is good that they have these GitHub pages. But let's say that we just want, I don't know, themes, and let's say we're looking at artists. So if we go here and we go just to themes, you can see that there's a bunch of different themes here, but maybe we want some like realism and abstraction. So what are the keywords we can use for that? So in this case, the only word input here is sphere. And so here, to get these 2x2, he's written realistic sphere. For these ones, he's written hyper-realistic sphere, photorealistic sphere, so on. You get the idea. And then there are, lots of different ones. So you can see here, dreamy sphere, abstract sphere, bunch of keywords, right? And there's even like design styles. Maybe you want, I don't know, like beautiful sphere, elegant sphere, or maybe you want to use a specific rendering engine like Octane or Blender render. And so basically what we're doing here, as similarly as I'm described with the 4K or 8K sort of keyword, is when we're inputting Octane render, for example, or Unreal Engine, we are sort of prompting the model to remember the data that it's seen that has been rendered by Unreal Engine to get it towards that type of output. So, each of these has their own unique style to them. And if we want it towards that type of style, we can use these keywords to push it towards that. But the best way to really use these things here, I think, is for inspiration. Maybe you can look at them and say, maybe that's the direction I want this to go to. So this is useful. And let's look at the other one as well. Here it's artists. So what you can do is you can write something that you want, this like a sphere, in this case sphere, and then he's written like a painting by Pablo Picasso. So then the model that's been trained on these images or paintings made by Pablo Picasso, it can sort of remember the unique style of that artist, and so it can draw it in that style. So again, this is too much to remember. This is a lot of stuff. It's too much to even look at. But what you can do is you can sort of say, well, I want to direct the lightning or the lighting of the scene. All right, what types of light exists? All right, maybe I want like a backlight. All right, that's how that looks like, and you get a sense. So that's one idea or one research to look at. The other is the DALL-E 2 prompt book, which is also really cool. You can get some general ideas of how you can use the input. So for example, here, if we go to photography, you can say, you can direct it a lot by saying like, okay, you want an extreme close-up shot, or just medium shot, long shot, like the angle of the shot. This is one thing to take a look at. It's really useful when learning about this. And thirdly, there's a DALL-E 2 prompt engineering guide. That's a Google document. I think it's also really useful. And also, obviously, the user manual for MidJourney. But, I'm hoping I'll guide you through the most important stuff in this video. And then you can sort of take a look at these if you want. They're useful resources. All right, so let's go back to this. I want to guide you through an example. So let's say, I want action scene of a lion fighting or something. Let's say that, like a display of strength or something. We can start with that. So let's just try. In the beginning, what I like to do is just write like something very simple, right? Just lion. All right, so as the sort of output we get is this, and as you can see, it's by default very like artsy. It's not very photorealistic. This is the path that I guess that's the type of images that they've trained MidJourney on. It's sort of a specific characteristics of the output you get. But as a default, this looks pretty okay. It's pretty, it's cool. And again, we can upscale if we want more, or we want a larger one of the first one, or specific variants and so on. What you can also do is after you've upscaled it, you'll get to this. So you can do like more variations. You can upscale it even more. You can do a light upscale redo or a beta upscale redo, which has different characteristics of the upscaling. First of all, what I want is to have a specific aspect ratio of 16:9, because I'm thinking of using this as the thumbnail that we're gonna get from this for the YouTube video. So this is 16:9, which will be the default like 1920 by 1080, for example. If you want a sort of a more vertical, you can do 9:16. Other common ones, you can see this guy right here is doing 5:3. You can sort of specify exactly how you want it. So that's one useful argument that you can input. So there are more arguments as well, and I'll show you them later on. I'm sort of giving you what the most important is, the prompting, right? The others are sort of details you put on top, and I'll show you the details that we can add on top later. But for now, we just want to learn the phase of how we experiment. So I want like a display of strength from the lion, right? That was cute, sort of a cute lion that we got. So I don't know, like we do like a strong lion. as the start. And as you can see here, I'm starting off very broad, right? Vague. And what we want to do is that we want to see, okay, now does it respond well to doing a strong line? Does it really get the message that we're trying to get across here? And if it does, then great. But if it doesn't, then we'll need to modify it. So the idea is start very simple and then build on top of that. If you go too specific, then the model might either it will give you exactly what you want, but otherwise it might give you complete nonsense. So, all right, so a strong line. I mean, okay, this is much better, right? So first of all, you can see the aspect ratio changed from being square to 16:9. I like this. Like, this is like we want to have some action, I'm feeling. So maybe we can do like, a strong lion fighting, maybe. And then we can do same aspect ratio. And now I'm doing like one input at a time, but preferably you'll do many at a time. So like we can do a strong, maybe we can add some more keywords to that as well. We can do a big, or like a big, strong, ferocious, majestic. So a big, strong, ferocious, majestic lion fighting. All right, that would be pretty interesting to see what it outputs. What else? Maybe we can try like, it doesn't look very realistic right now. So maybe we can do a comma here. We can do hyper realistic, or maybe we can do that as well, like photorealistic. Maybe we can do high detail. So now we're adding just a bunch of keywords and see if we can get it more realistic. In general, all right, so this is good. Like, this is more action. This is pretty good. So I like this one the most, I think, right now. It's like the thing is I don't really like here is that it's not sure, like, it's just two lions fighting. I would want to have like one main lion in the scene, so that we really know which is the sort of the strong, majestic lion. But I like that one. So maybe we can do some variants of that, and we can upscale that as well. So, and we can see what we get. And then let's see. So we can do. I'm wondering if this hyperrealism will work. So here we have again a big, strong, ferocious, majestic lion fighting, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty like unclear, I would say, that it's actually a lion. Like, I feel like we lost a lot of detail here. Now it's sort of just like a cool shot, but it doesn't really display the yeah, it's not very realistic, I would say. So maybe we'll see if the realistic part will work. So here we get it again, a strong lion fighting. Did we see this one? Or is that the variant, I think? Yeah, I mean, these look pretty similar, as you can see. They're cool, but not really the scene that I'm looking for. So, but it's definitely in the right direction. Here we can see something more. It's right, the realistic one. I think this is okay. It's too, I don't know. I don't feel like it's getting the realistic part. It's definitely more detailed, but the detail is not maybe what I want here. I want to more convey the message of like the strength of the lion and the maybe we can do like we'll remove the high detail, and we can do we can just do photorealistic. We can add that, and let's see. We want fighting for his pack. Maybe we can do something like that. So we can do like set the scene a little bit more, so that in this way maybe it will be more that it will be one main lion that is the ferocious and majestic one, hopefully, and then we'll still have the photorealistic part. But let's see, maybe we can add that as well. You remember the 4K 8K thing? Maybe we can add, I don't know, 8K. at the end to perhaps get a little bit more high quality one. And you can see here that some are writing like ultra high quality. Sometimes I look at these as well just to get some ideas. See, you can see 8K, hyper realistic. We can also try some rendering, like we can try Octane render to see what we get. So we can do, let's see, we can do Octane render. If that makes a big difference. I'm not thinking it will in this case, but we can try, and then we can do maybe Unreal Engine. And then here we can see the 8K. I feel like that maybe did a little bit, adding the 8K. Maybe this is a little bit more. Also, what I'm seeing is like these colors are not really what I want. I want more of a dramatic scene, I would say. So maybe we can add like dramatic scene. All right, this is pretty cool now. This is getting something, I think. Like here we can see, the thing is here, like I want to see the fighting more. Like here we can see that it's a sort of a dramatic scene kind of. We see some smoke. I like this part. Maybe we can add, this one is the one I like the most. We can do some variants of that. And we can try an upscale as well so you can see how the upscale looks like. But that one was the one I liked the most so far. I like the coloring of it. This is pretty cool. So what I'm thinking is that we can add the dramatic scene. I don't think the engine thing will be too useful. We could do like add some fire or something. Fire. You can sort of sense that it's a line, but it's not very clear. So this was the Octane render. It's not that drastically different though. Ooh, this is getting something now. Now you can really see like the I think fire is definitely a good thing to add here. All right, so this is the upscale one. The thing here is like it adds these very strange details, right? This is not that good. What we can do then is that we can do like an upscale redo, and that will change the texture. But it did lose a lot of, I mean, it doesn't look like a line anymore, I feel like. All right, this is cool though. This is cool. So wow, the fire really added a lot, I think. I mean, this one is cool. It's not clear that it's a line here though. This one really cool, but a little bit unclear. Like there's a line here. I don't know what this is here. I want to add some more that it's clear that we're the lion is fighting for like his family or something, like his fighting for his family lion pack. And then what we now I'll show you a trick, or not a trick, but how we can modify the input. So we can add weighting like this to colon. This is called a hard break. So we can add a weighting. I think by default it's 1. So if we do 2, this means that all of this here will be the emphasis, and then what's after is emphasis weight of 1. So this is prioritized more than these keywords. So we want to focus that we want this majestic lion, and then although we also want it to be photorealistic, dramatic scene, fire, 8K. So you could do this like hard break again. So weight 2 and then weight 1. Although it's by default like that, so you don't really need to do it this way, but we can. So I can remove it here, but so that's called a hard break to emphasize specific parts, and then the commas are called soft breaks. So it's not really. I mean, like you can obviously do it like this as well. And to be honest, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. But I like to do it that way. It seems more structured and gives good output as well. So maybe that will help a little bit. I like this. So this is really cool. We can do like now it's like a lot of lines, but we can do I think the realistic part will keep. I don't know if hyper realistic is needed, but we can do like hyenas and then like add wild cats. Maybe it's not defending against other lions, but something like that. And I'm not sure either if the big, strong, ferocious, majestic lion is needed. Maybe just a ferocious, majestic lion is sufficient. So let's see here. Yeah, this is cool. I'm starting to like. I want more like the. I definitely like when there's more darkness. All right, so we're getting something here. Let's see. This is with the wildcats and the hyenas. This is cool. Like this is more like what I want here. You can see that this is really the main line here, defending or fighting. So that one I definitely like the most. So we'll do variants of that. Maybe we can even upscale that one. This is cool. So I like this. I definitely like this one. This one maybe. We'll do variants of that one. So what, like when you get something that you're starting to like, now you can do variants of that, and you're sort of converge, slowly and slowly on what you like more and more, because you'll do a variant of something you like, then you'll, out of those four, you'll do another variant of what you like, and so on and so on and so forth. So you can really start to direct it that way. We can describe it more like an epic scene. One thing now is that it's not, sometimes, like in most of these, it's in relatively the center, but to really display which one to focus on, maybe we can do, we can add a ferocious, majestic lion in the center, fighting for his family lion pack. All right, so we've gotten a couple of ones that look good now. I think this one looks really cool. And I've been playing around just on variants and so on. But what I really want to show you as well, so I want to show you some really important arguments that we can use. So now that we have a sense of how we go about generating the prompt, and remember, this is, there are probably more you can play with than keywords and so on. This is just to give you a sense of how one goes about doing this. But so what we've learned about is the mindset we should have with experimentation of how we go about starting with something simple, building it up, sort of checking what works, what doesn't, how we go about for inspiration for keywords using those resources, and what else. So we've learned about soft breaks, hard breaks, and weighting of the words. What I want to show you now is the arguments. So we've already learned that you can do aspect ratio. Another one we can do is there's one called stylize, or just S. This means basically how much we are giving up to the how much are we giving interpretation to the model. If we're giving very low stylize, my interpretation of low stylize, which default is 2500, if we get lower, it means that it's gonna go closer to the prompt. And then we can do, there's something called quality, or we can just do Q. This is basically how much time it will spend on that generation. So default is 1. If we do 2, it will spend twice the amount of time and maybe get a little bit better render. I don't really want it to take that long though. But that's an argument. The other one that I like, another important anyways, is chaos. So then it's 0 to 100. I actually don't know what the default is, but we can do like chaos 50. This means that it will do more highly varied output. So this is also really good for experimentation. If you do the chaos one, then you'll get more varied ones that you can then do variants of. So what I want to show you is here on the user manual, some other things that we can do. So yeah, I mean, this, for example, this fast and relaxed, right now we're in fast mode. We only have a specific number of hours on the fast one, and then you can do the relaxed one, but not that important. Another thing that we can do is image prompt. So you can do like, if you want inspiration from a specific image, then you can do that. I don't really use it that much, but you can do that, and then you can also specify how much weighting you want the image to take over and how much you want the text prompt. Another argument is no, so you can specify that you don't want something. So you can want like a forest spirit at night and then no trees, for example. Again, I don't use this that often, but it could be useful like if you want something very specific and that specific thing is very heavily associated with something that comes with it and you don't want that comes with it, then you can specify, you know, I want this but I don't want that. So that's another sort of useful thing to keep in mind. There's also seed, so you can specify so you get the same generation, so reproducible results. And then we come to these stylize so how much like it will be more opinionated. I think lower is, I generally use pretty low because I want it to be more close to the prompting, so I have more decision over it. Quality, I usually use a default, but this is something to play around with as well. The chaos, let's see actually what we got from that. So let's see. So you can see here the chaos. You can see the highly varied output you get here. Like this is really doing, like this is really good for experimentation. But anyways, back to this thing here. So yeah, you can do this stop thing as well, which might be good for experimentation in the beginning. Like, actually, I should have done that. That's a mistake on my part. Now I just waited, but this would have saved a little bit of time with experimentation. Yeah, you can also use emojis, and we already talked about the image prompting. And then this text weights, we already did that, or we already looked at that. Yeah, so all right, so what I want to do now is just show you some examples, the favorite ones that came out from that prompt that we saw, just random initializations and then variants of those. So here's the first one. I like this one a lot. Looks really cool. I really think we captured it well with the majestic sort of display of strength on this line. I think like the warrior display. I think this one was pretty cool as well. You know, a little bit different. And then my favorite that I liked the most was this one. So and this is all from the same prompt. So it's just different initializations of the same prompt that you saw. And yeah, so that's how you go about experimenting. That's how MidJourney works. That's how you use it. Obviously, this is just one example. Take a look at the resources, get some inspiration, but most importantly, try it out for yourself. It's actually a really fun thing to do, and I hope this video was useful to maybe get your ideas and how you can get started with this. I hope you found the video useful, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.